Tonight's story isn't just scary, it's real. A peaceful family, a quiet neighborhood, and footsteps from above. Welcome to a tale known as The Man in the Attic. If you're listening in the dark, I suggest you stay very, very still. It was a cold autumn in Colorado. The Miller family had just moved into a modest two-story home on the edge of a small town, quiet, surrounded by trees, and far from the chaos of the city. Erin Miller, the mother of two, loved the charm of the old house. Her husband, Todd, worked the night shift, and she often spent evenings alone with her children, Lily and Max. The first few weeks were normal. Peaceful dinners, bedtime stories, homework at the kitchen table. Nothing seemed out of place. Not yet. It began with small things. A sandwich missing from the fridge. The TV left on in the middle of the night. Cabinets slightly ajar in the morning. Erin blamed the kids. Maybe Lily had snuck into the kitchen again. Maybe Max forgot to close the cabinet. She never thought anything of it. Until she heard it. A soft creak. Above her. In the ceiling. Footsteps. It was 2:13 a.m. The clock on the microwave blinked. Todd was at work, and the kids were asleep. Erin had gone to the kitchen for water when she froze. Directly above her, slow, deliberate, footsteps moved from one side of the ceiling to the other. And then, silence. She held her breath. Maybe, the house is settling, she told herself. But she knew. That wasn't the house. That was someone. The next day, Erin searched the house, every closet, the basement, the garage. But she didn't think to look up, not yet. That evening, she locked every window. She kept the kids close. And again, at 2:00 a.m., the footsteps returned. This time, she called Todd. He rushed home and searched the attic, but found nothing. No signs of life. No intruder. Just dust and old insulation. Still, Erin felt watched. Days passed. Then weeks. Erin began to keep a journal of every strange thing. A glass placed differently. The smell of sweat near the vents. Food disappearing faster than normal. She thought she was losing her mind. Until Lily came downstairs crying one morning, saying, "Mommy, I saw a man in the ceiling." Erin panicked. She checked the attic again. And that's when she noticed, a corner of the insulation was bent down, like someone had been crawling there. Todd decided to install a small security camera, inside the attic. He didn't tell the kids. He didn't tell Erin. He just wanted to know. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, the camera recorded. Hours of silence. Then, 2:11 a.m. Movement. A hand, pale and thin, reached across the wooden beam. Then a face. A man. Dirty. Sunken eyes. Greasy hair. He crawled silently across the attic like he belonged there. He had been living above them. For weeks. Todd called the police the next morning. They entered the attic with flashlights and guns drawn. And there he was, curled into the darkest corner. A sleeping bag, cans of food. A small radio. A diary. He had been there since before the Millers moved in. He wrote in the diary. "They seem nice. I like this family. I don't want to leave." The Millers never returned to that home. They left everything behind. The man was taken into custody, but he was never charged with assault or theft. He hadn't taken anything, he just watched. From above. Every night. For months. Some stories make you scared to sleep, others make you scared to wake up. But tonight's story might make you scared to ever live alone again. Welcome to The Silent Roommate. Based on true events. Told in a whisper, so you don't wake what's hiding in your walls. In a quiet district of Fukuoka, Japan, 26-year-old Hana Yamada moved into her new apartment. It was small, but clean. Her first real space. Alone. No roommates. No family. Just peace. She smiled as she unpacked, arranged her dishes, and placed tiny plants on the windowsill. This was freedom. Her job at a nearby bookstore was simple, and each evening she'd return, eat ramen, and listen to lo-fi music until she fell asleep. But peace can be deceiving. A few days in, Hana noticed small oddities. Her milk was half full when she remembered not drinking it. A banana she'd saved was gone. Her charger was in a different spot. She blamed it on forgetfulness. Maybe she was too tired after work. But it happened again. And again. She even joked to a coworker. "I think I have a ghost." Or, "a really hungry shadow." The joke didn't feel funny after a week. It was 2:47 a.m. when Hana first heard it. A faint, scratching noise, coming from the walls. Then a thump. Then silence. She sat up, heart racing, staring at the hallway. She lived on the 3rd floor. No pets. No children nearby. Maybe the building was just old. She returned to bed, trying to ignore the icy chill in her stomach. To reassure herself, Hana placed her phone to record audio overnight. In the morning, she pressed play. At first, silence. Then, rustling. A soft creak. Then, clear as day, a cough. A man's cough. She froze. She played it again. The cough was there. In her apartment. At 3:12 a.m. She reported it to her landlord, who laughed. "No one's broken in. Our locks are very secure." He didn't check. The next night, Hana locked every door and window. She took a knife to bed. She barely slept. In the morning, she went to grab cereal from the pantry, and noticed something odd. The small door to the utility closet was slightly open. That closet had always been stuck. She approached it slowly. Inside, stacked blankets, and behind them, a bowl, a spoon, and food crumbs. Someone was hiding in there. Terrified, Hana installed a small USB security cam in her living room. That night, she didn't sleep. She waited. At 2:58 a.m., a shadow moved. She checked the camera footage. Out from the small closet, crawled a man. Thin. Filthy. Barefoot. He walked calmly to the kitchen, opened the fridge, drank from her milk carton, and returned to the closet like a rat. Hana screamed and ran to the neighbors. Police were called. They entered the closet with caution. And there he was. A homeless man in his 40s. He had been living there for over 3 weeks. He entered during a maintenance visit, and never left. He survived off leftovers, tap water, and moving only when Hana slept. Among the man's few belongings was a notebook. Inside it, scrawled in shaky Japanese. "She's kind. She won't hurt me. I like her music. I just want to stay." He had been watching her. Every night. And Hana had never really been alone. As you drift off to sleep tonight, listen closely. That scratch on the wall. The creak in the floorboards. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe you're not alone either. Some stories start with a dream home, and end with a nightmare. A beautiful house. A happy family. And a stranger, who was always watching. Based on a true case that remains unsolved. Tonight's story is called, The Watcher. Don't read this at night. Don't listen alone. In June of 2014, the Broaddus family had just purchased their dream home. 657 Boulevard, a 6-bedroom house in a wealthy suburb of Westfield, New Jersey. Maria Broaddus loved the neighborhood. Derek, her husband, was proud to have moved his family there. Their kids played outside, the neighbors waved politely. Everything was perfect. For 3 days. Then, they got a letter. The envelope had no return address. Just blocky letters spelling, the Broaddus family. Inside, typed on yellow paper. Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, how did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? It was signed, The Watcher. Derek thought it was a prank. Maria was less sure. She didn't like how the writer knew the exact layout of the house, including how many children they had. A second letter arrived. I see you've started to renovate. The house doesn't like change. Have you found what's hidden in the walls yet? Then. Let the children play. Once I know their names, I'll call to them. Maria stopped letting the kids play outside. They installed cameras. They changed locks. But the letters kept coming. The Watcher seemed to know everything. The children's nicknames. What rooms they slept in. When the family left the house. They contacted the police. The neighborhood held a meeting. They questioned the mailman. No one had seen anything. I walk by every day, one letter read. You won't see me, but I'm there. I am the Watcher of 657 Boulevard. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s. My father watched it in the 60s. And now, it is my turn. Police began to suspect the neighbors. But they found nothing. DNA on the envelope was from a woman, possibly one of the nearby residents. But it didn't match anyone. The Watcher's letters kept coming, long, obsessive, almost poetic. I asked the woods to bring me young blood, and it looks like they listened. The Broaddus family stopped sleeping at the house. Derek became paranoid. He watched the street from his car for hours. He memorized the walking patterns of every neighbor. Maria had nightmares. The kids became withdrawn. They had bought a dream. But the house now felt like a haunted prison. Even the police admitted. There was no proof of crime. No one had broken in. No violence. Just words. And yet, those words were enough. The Broadduses tried to sell the house. But the story had spread. No one wanted a home with a stalker. One buyer offered to demolish it. Another said they didn't believe the letters, until a fresh one came. You have awoken something inside me. 657 is crying. I will watch you, and your little ones. I will watch. Years passed. No suspect. No arrest. And then one day, a final letter. Maybe a car accident. Maybe a fire. Maybe a sickness will take one of you. Maybe it will be me. 657 belongs to me. The Watcher. To this day, no one knows who the Watcher is. Some say it was a neighbor. Others think it was the Broadduses themselves. But every family who's lived there since, wonders if the letters will start again. And you, if you ever find a house too perfect, too peaceful, remember. Some houses don't belong to you. They belong to someone who is always watching. Sometimes the most terrifying horror doesn't scream. It whispers, through hotel walls, leaves behind blood in a sink, and vanishes with no name. Tonight's story comes from 1935. A real unsolved murder. Welcome to room 1046. On January 2, 1935, a man checked into the President Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. He looked plain. Tall. Dark hair. Deep eyes. He gave his name as Roland T. Owen, paid cash, and requested an interior room, no windows to the street. Just silence. He had no luggage. Only a brush, comb, and a toothbrush. The bellboy led him to room 1046. The man thanked him, and locked the door behind him. Over the next 2 days, hotel staff noticed something strange. He kept the room locked from the inside, even when they brought towels or cleaned. He would only speak with the door slightly open. He left the lights off most of the time. He had no visitors, or so they thought. Once, a maid overheard him say on the phone, "No, Don. I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry." She didn't see a phone in his hand. On the night of January 3rd, the hotel operator received multiple complaints. Room 1046's phone had been off the hook for hours. Not in use, just off the hook. A bellboy was sent to check. He knocked. No answer. He entered with a master key. The room was dark. Roland was lying in bed, fully dressed. He said nothing. Just waved him away, slowly. The phone was placed back, but later, it was off the hook again. On January 4th, another check was made. This time, the bellboy opened the door, and stopped. The room was covered in blood. Roland was sitting in the corner. Bleeding. Naked. A towel pressed to his head. There was blood on the walls. The floor. The sink. He had been tied with cords at his wrists, ankles, and neck. Multiple stab wounds on his chest. But he was still alive. When asked who did it, he whispered, "Nobody." At the hospital, Roland said only one more thing before falling unconscious. "I fell against the bathtub." The doctors didn't believe it. His injuries were deliberate. He died later that night. No family visited. No one came to claim the body. But the mystery was just beginning. Police began an investigation. They found that Roland T. Owen didn't exist. The name was fake. Fingerprints led them to another identity, one tied to a man from Los Angeles named Artemis Ogletree. He had been reported missing by his mother. But no one knew why he went to Kansas City, or who Don was. Weeks after his death, the funeral home received a mysterious call. "Don't bury him in a potter's field. We'll send money." True to the word, cash arrived in an envelope, no return address. A bouquet of flowers followed. The card read, "Love forever, Louise." To this day, no one knows who Louise was. Or why they paid for his burial. No suspect was ever arrested. No motive discovered. No connection explained. Just a man, in a hotel, who died alone and silent. A fake name. A fake life. And perhaps, a secret buried with him. And tonight, as you sleep far away from room 1046. Remember this. Some mysteries never scream. They bleed, they whisper, and they disappear quietly, behind a hotel door. Would you check in, if you knew you might never check out? When we were kids, we all had that one strange TV show. The one we kind of remember, but no one else does. But what if everyone remembered the same show? And it never existed? This is the story of Candle Cove. Sit back. Close your eyes. Let the static take over. It started on a forgotten internet forum in the early 2000s. A user posted a strange question. Does anyone remember a kids show called Candle Cove? They remembered watching it in the early 70s. A pirate puppet named Pirate Percy. A little girl who sailed a ship, and a villain they called the Skin Taker. At first, no one responded. Then, more people remembered. The same show. Same characters. Same nightmare fuel. One user wrote, "I remember crying when Pirate Percy would scream. He always screamed when he saw the Skin Taker. That face. That voice. It was awful." Another added, "Didn't it air only on channel 58? Like, really early in the morning?" I had to sneak out of bed to watch it. A third said. My mom said there was no show. She just saw me sitting in front of a static screen for 30 minutes. Every person remembered him, the skin taker. A tall marionette with a skull for a head, made from actual teeth. His cloak was stitched from what looked like human skin. He spoke in a deep, grinding voice. Children cried when he appeared. And yet, they watched. Each episode, darker than the last. One person mentioned an episode that never aired again. There was no music. No voices. Just screaming. For the entire episode. Children screaming. Then silence. They all remembered it. But no footage exists. No VHS. No logs. Nothing. Candle Cove was nowhere. Another added. Didn't it air only on channel 58? Like, really early in the morning? I had to sneak out of bed to watch it. A third said. My mom said there was no show. She just saw me sitting in front of a static screen for 30 minutes. Every person remembered him, the skin taker. A tall marionette with a skull for a head, made from actual teeth. His cloak was stitched from what looked like human skin. He spoke in a deep, grinding voice. Children cried when he appeared. And yet, they watched. Each episode, darker than the last. One person mentioned an episode that never aired again. There was no music. No voices. Just screaming. For the entire episode. Children screaming. Then silence. They all remembered it. But no footage exists. No VHS. No logs. Nothing. Candle Cove was nowhere. Then someone shared something chilling. I asked my mom if she remembered the show. She looked scared. She said, "You used to just sit there in front of the TV. The screen was off. You never said a word. Just smiled. For 30 minutes. Others confirmed the same. They had been watching nothing. Or something only they could see. People started digging. No broadcast logs. No production studio. No cast. No crew. It was like Candle Cove never existed. Yet dozens of unrelated people remembered it the same way. With the same images, same screams, same horror. So what was it? A mass hallucination? A shared dream? A psychological echo from trauma? Or a message from something darker? Years passed. The thread was forgotten. Until one user posted. I saw the static again. Just now. On channel 58. It was him. Pirate Percy. He's still screaming. Another wrote. My daughter started humming the theme song. I never told her about the show. Some things never leave. Candle Cove always finds a way back. And now, as you fall asleep, you might hear a faint static. You might see a puppet smile in the corner of your room. It's just your imagination. Right? Welcome back to Candle Cove.